Okay, in this video I'm going to provide you with categoric proof that both Brundle and the Red Bull team, Christian Horner, NEWEY, Wheatley, categoric evidence that they knew the fundamental purpose of the safety car. Now, I've done this before. Back on the 27th of September 2023, I did make this video. Took me hours producing a PowerPoint. The video then was an hour and 48 minutes long. I uploaded it. It got 1,028 views, and nobody goes back and sees it. That's the nature of social media. The information is there, but it lies dormant. Nobody goes back and checks the back catalogue. For those people that I continually get accused that this is just a grift, trying to make money by the trolls, you can have a look at my earnings typically per these older videos: 24p, 28p, 48p, 74p. There you go. So you put hours into things. £2.86, woohoo! Living the dream. £4.13. This is what we're talking about, all right? This is the way that you get monetized, and sometimes, don't get me wrong, the odd video will make 30 or 40 quid. Occasionally, even more than that, okay? But typically, this is what we're looking at. It varies by number of views, varies by how long the video is, how many adverts are in the video, how long people remain watching the video. So it's not an exact science. But ultimately, the information is there. What has happened frequently is things like this. I've put an hour and 45 minutes into making a video. You then upload it and it gets blocked. So you don't even see some of the things that I produce. But anyway, let's get on to what this video is actually about. I will put a link to that particular video in the description of this video in case you want to see it. But I'm going to do it again anyway. I'm going to make it shorter. So the proof is going to be from here, F1 TV. So last night I was finding this Grand Prix that I was going to evidence it with. And then I come back to my laptop this morning. Laptop messes around, so I've had to restart it. Go onto the F1 TV homepage, and you get confronted with this. Now, this is the sport itself, and this is what it wants to now present itself. We've now got, these are the experts talking to people about Formula One, are they? Well, what are they? What are the credentials of these people? Young people who have visual appeal to most, far more visual appeal than I'm ever going to present you with, wearing what? Lego, doing the devil horns gesture, okay? This gimp here, what does he know? He's just happy to be here, there, isn't he? I mean, what's she doing? What's that? Some sort of waffle crisp or something? These are their F1 TV secrets revealed from Zandvoort. And then now you've got Jolyon Palmer as kind of the presented father, the one with all the expert knowledge, kind of overseeing the kids doing their little fluffy presentation. And that's there to educate you about Formula One on their this is the sport's own platform for promoting its sport. Computer game style graphics in the background. It's like an episode of Why Don't You? It's kids' TV, isn't it? This is Formula One. These are like presenters on Play School. What's going on? But this is what they do to the world. Anyway, what we need to do is go archive, and we need to go to the 2013 season, and we need to go to the German Grand Prix. If I click on that, what it usually does, it usually leaves us, picks up from where you last left off. Now, what we don't have here, back for these historic Grand Prix, is data view and tracker view. When you've got track view, you've got an overview of the track. You can see the locations of the track, the cars on that track, and it's much easier to identify the dynamics of the actual situation. When you actually just can only have the global feed, you're cutting from camera angle to camera angle, and you're not really seeing the full picture of what's actually happening relative to all of those competitors in that race. So it's more difficult for me to demonstrate to you. Coupled with that is the fact that by me using extended footage, then they'll block the video on upload. So it's difficult for me to do this. But what we have here is lap 27 of 60. There is a safety car situation. What has happened here is Jules Bianchi was in that race. His car broke down. The engine seemed to suffer some sort of failure and catch fire. He pulled over to the side of the track. He got out, and then the car kind of freewheeled backwards back across the track, and with the tractor having come out to try and recover the car, and this car then rolls itself back across the track and crashes into an advertising hoarding on the other side of the track. So they then stick the safety car out. All right, so that's what caused that. Now, earlier in this race, the race started. Hamilton was on pole, I believe, or certainly front row. The two Red Bulls got ahead. So Vettel, and then back then it was Mark Webber. So it was running Vettel and Webber in second. Now then, when Webber pitted, his rear wheel wasn't attached properly. He drove off from the pits. His rear wheel came loose, knocked over a cameraman. He was sitting there in the pit lane with three wheels on his car. He then his car got wheeled back to his pit box. They reattached a wheel. They sent him back out again. That whole process made him lose a lap to everybody. He came out last, behind the last running competitor in that race. Now, it appears that he would have gained positions, but still a lap down to everybody in effect. I say everybody, like when you come out last, lapped by everybody, then I think he came out in 21st. So if he overtakes 20th, he has unlapped himself from 20th, but if the lap time's 1 minute 30, he's now 1 minute 29 behind 20th, right? That's what we're talking about here. He is that far behind everybody. So, and the timing gaps in this race, when they put them across the bottom of the screen, as you can see here, what they will do, they'll put the gaps relative to each competitor rather than the overall time behind the leader. And you'll see that he is kind of, he came out 96 seconds, 98 seconds behind 20th. And then he gets it down to being 75 seconds behind 20th. But so he's unlapped himself from 20th, but he's still well over a lap behind the lead cars. But he's not, I don't believe, it's difficult to actually identify this exactly. I don't believe he has unlapped himself up to 10th. I believe he's only unlapped himself relative to 20th, 19th, 18th, 17th, maybe 16th, 15th. Something like that. Difficult to actually know for sure. There will be ways of doing this. It's difficult from this perspective to be able to do this. But essentially, he is lapped by at least the top 10 in that race. And he is essentially the cars that are on the track that are, if they all bunched up to him, they would, if they were faster than him, he would get blue flags to them and say, let them go. But the reality is, when you give blue flags to a competitor, it's usually because they're the slower competitor. The reality is, Webber's in the dominant car. So he will actually, on a restart, go away from those cars. Right, that's the way it is. It's not a case of, oh, he's a slower car, that's the reason why he's that far down the field. He's actually a faster car than them, so even if they all bunched up on a restart, he's going to go away from them. So the notion of, oh, just get out of the way, you are essentially 75 seconds behind them, you're almost a lap behind them now. Yeah, but he's faster than them, so he's still in the race and he can go ahead of them. He can extend away from them and unlap himself to everybody else. That's the nature of motor racing. That's how it works. They don't explain that to people. This was the most dominant car, having suffered something, gone to the back of the field, and now from that position is making his way through the field, unlapping himself relative to those cars due to race pace. But again, they don't worry about that. Now, this is what I need to do.
One of the leaders too much, but it's worked well for JB.
This is him there, having been released. But what you actually need to know is, what do Red Bull understand about this procedure? Well, they lived it. Christian Horner is the team principal. He's got a car in this race that was running in, well, he was actually running in first because Vettel had pitted first, and that made Webber inherit the lead. So they had a car that was in the lead of the race. When it pitted, it was then lost all this time, and then when it re-emerged onto track, it's now last, a lap down to everybody. It's now making its way back through the field, and now we've got another incident causing a safety car. So what do we do? Is it in the way of the race between the leaders? No, it's not. So those of you that tried to make the claim, oh, actually one of the purposes of this, the primary purpose of this, is to get it out of the way of the race between the leaders. It's not in the way of the race between the leaders. It's over a lap down to all of those leaders, and it's not in the top 10 or 12 cars. It's not interfering with that race. So what is the purpose? Martin Brundle will tell you the purpose. He'll tell you the implications in this. Now, what I'm going to have to do is not actually play this. Just let you listen to the commentary of it. So I'll show you, I'll give you a perspective of what's actually going on here. So here we go, lap 7 of the race.
Yeah. Will they react with both cars?
Red Bull coming out to pit their first car.
They can't stack them, can they? So Mark Webber will take the lead.
Mark Webber will take the lead.
I don't think there's enough of a gap, is there, to stack them. Mark Webber does now take the lead.
Okay, so that was notification of Webber taking the lead. That's Vettel coming back out on track. And we'll just see if he pits the following lap. It might be the lap out of this, but we will see. Just to show you, so this is Webber coming in.
Oh, Hulkenberg button.
I believe, yeah.
So Mark Webber now stops.
There's a problem with this rear right.
Into the pits. You can ride on board with both
long
Mercedes
stop.
or both
See?
Red Bulls. It is a long stop, and there's a bit of
long stop, and now what happens?
wheel spin as he gets away, and
wheels come off. Back end of his car's down. Look at this wheel.
It's been waved. There's a wheel gone, and the wheel
Okay, now it's going to smack a cameraman.
rolling down, and he's hit the cameraman.
Okay, so it properly takes out that cameraman. Wheel travelling at quite a significant speed, quite a big mass travelling at speed, and it's taken the cameraman out there. Right, so
And on the back,
and then Webber has to pull over.
I hope.
We've got to recover this wheel that's bouncing down there. They've got to recover Webber's car back to the Red Bull pit. They've got to then sort out what the problem was, whether there's any cross-threading, and hope that they can put a nut on that on that little stub axle to put a new wheel on.
He's okay, I really do.
So that's the situation. I think this is a replay of it.
But it's
well, no, it's still the overhead of the pit.
sped through the Mercedes.
So he loses a lot of time. I'll just chunk this forward in 10-second intervals and just show you where he came out. So that was from first. This is them wheeling him back.
He looks essentially
on 3 wheels. We cut back to the track action. And then this is him coming out of the pits. And this is the last running competitor, I believe.
Marussia, so down now in 21st place.
Okay, now in 21st place.
It's going to be a long afternoon for Mark Webber.
It's going to be a long afternoon for Mark Webber, says Brundle. I'm waiting for this graphic across the bottom of the screen just to confirm things for you.
It was an error.
So, this lad, CHI, whatever that stands for, in 20th. Okay.
The pit stop, the wheel not attached. And just the speed of that wheel. Going down the hill, the Mercedes mechanics doing...
Okay, I'm just having... You know that I have to keep stopping this because to try to avoid F1 claiming this on copyright. I'm trying to educate you. I'm trying to explain to you what is actually going on. So I'm using the evidence of something actually taking place, but they'll try to prevent me from educating you under a claim of copyright. We own that. We don't want you to show people this perspective.
Very well to get out of the way.
And then we've moved across 21st Webber and Massa was the 22 competitors. By the fit, Massa's out. So the last running competitor is Mark Webber. Lapped to CHI. Okay. Now when they give the time gaps, you'll see that he is over the duration of a lap behind Chilton. I think it's Chilton. Okay, so that's that situation. So then we come forward to, I think it was about 53. No, we're already under safety car. So, we've managed to stop on Christian Horner and the genius himself, okay, Adrian Newey. What do you know, Christian? What do you know? Red Bull team boss. You've got your Red Bull car now that's, you know, we only need to get him out of the way. Then we've got some motor racing on our hands. Oh, that was Jonathan, wasn't it? We only need one racing lap. When are we going to get these lap runners out of the way? Are we getting Mark out of the way, Christian? So let's go back a little bit. This is them pitting under safety car. Now, what you've got then is that there wasn't this notion. There wasn't this notion of the cars slowing down to a delta when the safety car was deployed. So the cars would still be travelling around the track, still at relatively high speed. The track was under yellow, so these drivers have got to ease off a bit and demonstrate that they've eased off. But it's not the same as slowing right down to a preset delta. And so they would be still travelling around the track at speed and trying to make their way back to the pits as quickly as possible to get in and out the pits as quickly as possible. And that then creates this problem of the pit lane becoming super busy. Whereas when everybody's travelling to a delta, it's far more controlled. There's still these maintained gaps between everybody. So that the pit lane, yes, there's going to be a lot of traffic in there, but it's a more steady stream rather than everybody trying to bomb it in there to actually maximise their advantage in doing so. So again, I'm just going to go back. This is the situation with Jules Bianchi's car. It had caught fire.
It's out and it's in a very difficult place.
And then the fire seems to have gone. This is the guy with a fire extinguisher.
Under braking for that chicane.
They're going to have to move it from the side of the track, aren't they? They can't leave that there.
They look like the Haas mechanics celebrating the Abu Dhabi win for Max Verstappen.
Either way, Jules Bianchi becomes the second retiree from this German Grand Prix.
It did catch fire. You can go and watch this race for yourself if you've got F1 TV. 2013 German Grand Prix.
And we'll walk away.
But this is the nature of the sport, right? This is the nature of Formula One. It's cut to here, cut to there, and we get to see what they choose to show us.
There's the start of it, Martin.
There's the start of it. Okay, and you can see what's coming out the back of his car. Is that a Toro Rosso or is that Webber behind him there? Oh, in fact, there's a Red Bull there, isn't it? Is that Webber? That could be Webber there.
A lot of smoke.
And there was the fire.
Dramatic shot you'll see in the magazines and on Sky.
But now we've got a tractor that had come to recover it, and the car's rolling back across the track and into the barriers.
F1 website. It's now rolling down the track by
Chaos.
itself.
Oh no! Now double yellows are out there, and
There's it's going back across there.
the drivers need warning as the car with nobody in it.
UBS. I'm guessing that's a bank. You know, one of the financial institutions that control the world.
It's just freewheeling down the road. There's your race leader, Sebastian Vettel, and a second place man, Roman Grosjean, coming through. And there's the
Allianz, a bank.
marshal. The safety car is now out, as actually the
Financial institution. So this is what's happening.
advertising hoarding does everyone
Okay.
a favour and slows that Marussia down.
Safety car. Right, so what I'm going to do now is play this through so you can listen to what they're saying. Now, this is going to be quite a long time, but I want you to focus on what is actually being said by the commentators. We're on lap 24. Now, you can see what's happened. There were replays of everything happening. Safety car is deployed. We're on lap 24. I don't know whether it was deployed on lap 23. Let's just go back to see where this actually, because we're going replay. Is that just
Side of the track, aren't they? They can't leave that there.
Let me just check.
The way Jules Bianchi becomes the second retiree from this German Grand Prix. And will walk away.
Doesn't help, does it? Doesn't help. 24. We know we're on lap 24. Okay, because this is replay. Lap 24. And again, we look at this bit.
Oh, now double yellows are out there,
and there we get the deployment of the safety car. The notification that now this car is rolling back across the track. Now we'll deploy the safety car. All right. Again, through the years, the criteria for deploying the safety car changes. Their acknowledgement of hazard, their responsibility to react to the hazard, health and safety directive, it changes, it evolves, and their responsibility, their understanding of their responsibility, their legal requirement, their knowledge of that all changes, and hence the necessity for race to control to evolve their process to ensure that they are doing things in accordance with those laws. All right, so this is what's happening. Lap 24. Now, so let's play through the commentary. I'm going to hit play. I'll stop it when I need to point something out, but listen to Brundle and Crofty. You know that now Mark Webber is in this field. He's lapped relative to everybody. He is... Let me just actually see if we can see what position... I think it'd be too late to know what position Bianchi was running in. But then Webber himself pits under safety car. So whether that would cause him to drop back a few positions. But they still know they're going to unlap. So it doesn't really matter that them losing their positions. Fundamental purpose is what's key here. All right, the fundamental purpose. I'm just going to hit play and then move to a different screen. And we'll have a listen.
Drivers need warning as the car with nobody in it is just freewheeling down the road. There's your race leader, Sebastian Vettel, and a second place man, Roman Grosjean, coming through. And there's the marshal. The safety car is now out, as actually the advertising hoarding does everyone a favour and slows that Marussia down.
the irony of that is it's in a safer place than it was when it decided to rejoin the race without its driver.
So now, safety car situation. Who's this going to favour, I wonder? Vettel makes an early call to come in for a fresh set of medium
Safety car, what's going to happen now?
compound tyres. Roman Grosjean and Lotus cover him. Vettel away, Grosjean's pit stop, and they're out once more. Kimi Räikkönen also coming in for his pit stop from third.
Yeah, he was over 10 seconds behind, so they can stack the Lotus.
And that's Fernando Alonso as well, coming in for his pit stop with the safety car deployed. So this now forcing a change of strategy. 25 laps into this German Grand Prix. There's a whole heap of them now, Martin, making their pit stop.
Lewis had already just made his, so he'll be further up the crocodile.
The crocodile. Right, so if you actually saw the pit lane action, you'd see it gets really, really busy really quickly.
Queue behind the safety car.
Yeah,
It should be anyway.
does that favour Lewis Hamilton, I wonder? There is a maximum time permitted between the two safety car lines of a 150. There'll be a...
No, see, they've got through. The safety car's picked up the leader. As Rosberg pits as well, Di Resta too. The safety car's picked up the leader, so it's worked out beautifully. So
That maximum time, that would indicate that they have introduced a delta back there. So I might be slightly wrong. Initially, for the 2012 regulations, there wasn't the requirement of a delta. So maybe 2013, there was a slight evolution of the drivers supposedly having to slow down to some degree on that initial deployment of the safety car for a maximum time of arrival back to the pits. Might have been. But ultimately, these cars, it was not good enough. Also, the pit lane speed limit was 100 kilometers an hour. Is that the same as now? Probably is. That's 60 mile an hour. Probably about right. It's Monaco, isn't it, where it's 80? Or is it? Have they dropped it to 80 now? Minor details.
Vettel and Grosjean and co.
Yeah,
They were far enough ahead not to be passed, not to lose the lead of the race.
oh dear. I don't think we need the green flag there as that car comes careering down. That's definitely the wrong one. But as you see, the car wheeling down, it was Vettel and it was Grosjean who were the first to come up behind it. So they were in the right part of the track at the right time to make that pit stop.
Yes. That must be, if Charlie Whiting has nightmares, that would be included. A tractor on the side of the track with a Formula 1 car rolling.
Now, pay attention to this. Listen to what's about to be said here. Remember, this bit's a replay. Okay. Listen to the commentary.
The wrong one. But as you see, the car wheeling down, it was Vettel and it was Grosjean who were the first to come up behind it. So they were in the right part of the track at the right time to make that pit stop.
Yes.
They were in the right part of the track at the right time to make that pit stop. Okay, remember that. They were in the right part of the track at the right time to make that pit stop. Now, something happens on track. Race control react to it. We'll wait. Oh, we'll deploy the safety car. Oh, they happen to be in the right part of the track at the right time to take advantage of that. Does that give scope for manipulation? The timing at which race control selects to deploy the safety car can impact the competitive outcomes for those competitors. I've proven this at one of the Chinese Grand Prix. The timing of the deployment of the safety car was just after the Mercedes cars passed the pit lane entrance. And the first car in was a Red Bull car of Max Verstappen. Incredible. You couldn't make it up. The incident happened. And then we wait. Oh, they've passed the pit lane entrance. Now we'll deploy the safety car and in comes Red Bull. It just happened to be they were in the right part of the track at the right time to take advantage. No manipulation there. Now, again, Charlie Whiting is presented as being the man of integrity, would never have allowed Abu Dhabi 2021. Who knows the truth? I don't. I don't know the truth. We're given an account of what caused Charlie Whiting's death. When there are people with certain interests, they don't let anybody get in the way of their interests. People are taken out. Now, I have no proof of anything. All I'm saying is, be open-minded. Be aware that there are people with huge financial interests, and if anybody is a threat to what it is that they want to happen, people get, what do they use the term these days? Well, you know. Anyway, we'll carry on here. So we've got the safety car out on track, and it's about listening to what is being presented.
That must be, if Charlie Whiting has nightmares, that would be included. A tractor on the side of the track with a Formula 1 car rolling back down towards the racing line in the middle of a race.
Who else has pitted? Perez, Soutel, De Resta, Rosberg, Peak, Mark Webber, all coming in to the pits.
So Mark Webber might get the...
So Webber has come into the pits. So he might have lost position relative to the cars that he'd gone through and was unlapping himself from. So let's say he's emerged a lap down to everybody and was not only just running in last, he was lapped by everybody. So now, despite him still being lapped, he's managed to say unlap himself from 20th, 19th, 18th, 17th, 16th, whatever, right? He's now pitted. If some of those cars behind didn't, they'd have gone through on track and they'd have dropped back behind them. And so I can't tell you exactly where he was in that snake of cars. But now listen to Brundle, because this is important. Really important what Brundle says.
Who else has pitted? Perez, Soutel, De Resta, Rosberg, Peak, Mark Webber, all coming in to the pits.
So Mark Webber might get the service here of lapped cars. He will. He should get the...
Mark Webber might get the service of lapped cars. Martin Brundle's talking about a service here. Okay? Now that's when you reach a certain mileage and you need the oil and filter changing, Martin.
Service of lapped cars can now pass the safety.
Mark Webber might get the service. Remember, he presents it as might. There's no part of the regulations that say might or optional, but he still presents it as might. He is in communication. He talks to Charlie Whiting. You'd have thought Charlie would explain the full implications of the rule, unless it's just, oh, this is just, we can manipulate. You just keep telling it this way, Martin, and pretend it's optional. Don't explain the fundamental purposes of it. These are the sorts of things that we can use to re-interject jeopardy and excitement into the show. Might, says Brundle.
Which would certainly help him.
That would help Webber. He's the only car that's lapped. Is he interfering with the race between the leaders? Well, his car is in that running order, and the top 10 or 12 cars at least will be lined up nose to tail.
Perez, Soutel, De Resta, Rosberg, Peak, Mark Webber, all coming in to the pits.
So Mark Webber might get the service here of lapped cars. He will. He should get the service of lapped cars can now pass the safety car.
Which would certainly help him. Vettel, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Alonso, Button, Hulkenberg and Hamilton on the road at the moment. The top 7. So Hamilton helped a bit by the field all coming together. And keeping his fingers crossed that this next set of medium compound tyres are a little kinder to him than the last set. man who started on pole down in 7th place. Felipe Massa, the man who started 7th out of this race, not talking until after the race, as his car just seemed to veer left going into turn 1. A very strange incident, that one. Also out of this race, Jules Bianchi with the fire, oil fire, engine fire that has caused eventually this safety car. Mark Webber losing a wheel in a pit stop and getting back out again eventually, but right at the back of the field. And we're all hoping that the World Feed FOM cameraman that was hit by the wheel bouncing down the pit lane is okay. What happened here? Rosberg on his way into the pits. Bit keen, wasn't he?
Yeah, pretty feisty, wasn't it?
Nico Rosberg's second pit stop and a little delay on it as well.
I think they're either adjusting the brake ducts they can adjust, or a bit of front wing. Let's have a
Valtteri Bottas had a problem on his front right, which needed another wheel gun. Trying to keep calm as a mechanic there, and it's very, very difficult in a very pressurised situation. And eventually heading back out once again. So we've lost Massa, we've lost Bianchi, we've lost Jean-Eric Vergne as well with Natalie.
Well, Jean-Eric, can you tell us what happened?
I had an hydraulic problem and couldn't continue the race, unfortunately.
So at what stage were you aware of the problem?
I don't know, 2 laps before I came in. So yeah, it's a shame. It's the second time in a row I end up the race like this. So yeah, hopefully I will have some better luck in the next race.
It's exciting, isn't it? I mean, these safety cars, they're over in a flash. Or are they just prolonged periods of time that I know that these things take a lot of time now. Yeah? What's going on? Oh, they're talking about this, they're talking about that, they're interviewing this, they're cutting to the pits, they're showing a replay. This is normal. Abu Dhabi 2021. Oh, there's bound to be a couple. That's when Max's much fresher tyres will fire up on any kind of restart. Oh, this is awful for Lewis. Oh, Max Verstappen's the victim. Will they do the mandatory procedure? I'm not sure it's mandatory, but that's normally on a wet day where they won't. And if they do, how long will they wait? We think the safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap, and there will be one racing lap. And it's ending. Wow! Michael! That was the Abu Dhabi narrative. Are we getting that bullshit here? 2013, same commentators. These lads with a life of experience of experiencing this, that had experienced this in 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 199 Grand Prix under these regulations. And that video that I show you the times where the unlapping procedure was done at each of those that they were most likely. It's been generally them two commentating on each of those events and what conditions were met prior to that race resuming. You couldn't make it up, but they did at Abu Dhabi 2021.
In Budapest.
Hugely disappointing, so sorry.
Yep.
I'm surprised Mark Webber's at the back there, and he should be passing the cars. He should be passing everybody else. He's been released to...
Really, Martin? Martin is surprised that Mark Webber's at the back because Mark should be passing those cars. He's been released. Now, it is, again, not the easiest thing to determine because of everything. I believe that is the safety car. There's a mark up on track there, but I don't know. Is that the safety car? It's trying to identify who's what. I think that's a safety car. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's difficult. You know, the quality of what we've got here. Let's just try and take it back a little bit and see what we can see.
Sorry.
Yep.
So we've cut to here. They're going into there.
I'm surprised Mark Webber's at the back there, and he should be.
So this looks like it's Webber's car here. So you've got the red banner going across the track, and I believe that that's Webber there.
Passing the cars. He should be passing everybody else. He's been released.
Now, how many cars are ahead of him to see exactly where he is in that running order of what would be if Eric Verne's just out of there? Webber's probably in 20th now. We'll maybe see.
To overtake the safety car.
So now that car, which looks to be Webber, is, well, it must be Webber because you're not allowed to overtake under safety car. So that must be Webber there. But how many cars he overtakes? Are some of that of the cars in that running order still trying to make it around to meet the back of this safety car, Snake?
And there he goes. He bolts now.
There he goes. He goes now.
He's just got the news.
And then we cut away. So I can't assess. All right. You can try and count.
Back then, he should be passing the cars. He should be passing everybody else. He's been released.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It just gets a bit. Is that 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? Where was he running? Was he like in between 13th and 14th? Was he in between 12th and 13th in that race at that stage? It's like I say, it's difficult for me to be able to accurately identify that. But he's certainly not in any way in this location interfering with a race between so-called leaders. So why is this process happening? Because it's a mandatory requirement. This is a Red Bull driver. This is the Red Bull car. Christian Horner, the team principal of the Red Bull team, impacting a procedure, impacting their team. How many points their team gets in the Constructors' Championship. How many points their driver gets in a Constructors' Championship. They understand this. Martin Brundle is telling you what is happening here.
To overtake the safety car, and there he goes. He bolts now. He's just got the news.
So they cut to the crowd. Back then, we didn't have the Orange Army. We'd got what we've got there, Swedish, Finnish flag and Swedish flags.
He should have had that half a minute ago because he could be down that pack,
and a Scottish one in there.
Should, bring him back into play. Possible point or two.
Did you hear that? He's got the service of the unlapping, right? He said that a few minutes ago. Mark Webber will have the service of the unlapping, right? And what will that do, Martin?
He should have had that half a minute ago because he could be down that pack.
He should have had it half a minute ago. Well, that's determined on the grounds of safety. Once it's safe to do so, so once the car of Bianchi's has been removed and that tractor is out of the way and that advertising board that they no longer have them because that's something that is, again, a hazard to the drivers, but they've realised that now, right? No longer have them in quite the same way.
It should, bring him back into play.
It will bring him back into play, says Martin.
Possible point or two.
And possibly get a point or two. I thought it was to get him out of the way of the race between the leaders. Martin Brundle tells us we know that the primary purpose of that is to make sure they don't interfere with a duel. No, that's not the purpose. 2013, you're telling us.
Later on.
Well, he is the man who won here before, after service.
So we're on lap 27 now. Remember the safety car was deployed on lap 24? Safety car took a long time to be deployed. The incident probably took place on lap 23. Don't know exactly. We can find out. Might do that at the end.
Having a drive-through penalty.
Yeah. But he was a lap and 67 seconds behind.
A lap and 67 seconds behind is what they claim Webber was. But now it'll bring him back in and possibly get a point or two due to the mandatory procedure that Red Bull knew about, that Red Bull benefited by. Oh, but it was just Lewis Hamilton that got the benefit at Imola 2021, wasn't it? No, they all get the benefit because that's the standard procedure. Look at the narratives.
That might be going some, even for Mark's record on this track.
That might be going some. Let's see what happens now. So let's try and get to the point.
Talking of records, John-Eric Verne, another retirement for him, as he alluded there, second time in a week. In the last 6 races, he's either scored points or he's retired from the race. It's a famine or feast, quite literally for him.
Well for Jenson Button,
there's Webber there.
he had just pitted, so didn't get there's Mark Webber through the back. He had just pitted, so didn't get delayed by having.
I believe that was the first. If we just go back a little bit.
For him, as he alluded there, second time in a.
Believe that is turn 1. Okay, believe that's turn 1 of that Grand Prix. Let's just go back.
7 seconds behind.
That might be going some, even for
later on.
Well, he is the man who won here before, after
I believe that's the start-finish straight.
serving a drive-through penalty.
Yeah.
Looks like it, doesn't it? Looks like the grid box.
But he was a lap and 67 seconds behind.
That might be going some, even for Mark's record on this track. Talking of
looks like it's coming into turn 1.
records, John-Eric Verne, another retirement for him, as he alluded there, second.
Yep. So they're coming around essentially turn 1, and so
time in a week. In the last 6 races,
we're seeing the Red Bull of Webber coming in.
He's either scored points or he's retired from the race. It's a famine or feast, quite literally for him.
And why I'm showing you this is it demonstrates that Webber passes the lead car and the safety car relatively early into lap 27.
Worked well for Jenson Button. He had just pitted, so didn't get.
Okay, we'll see him there.
There comes Mark Webber through the back. He had just pitted, so didn't get delayed by having to safety car pace back to the pits, and nor did the leaders too much. But it's worked well for Jenson.
And there he is. So again, you can look at the track map here. He has passed that safety car relatively early into lap 27. So let's listen to now how commentary described this.
JB, fresh set of tyres.
He's in a handy position as well, it has to be said, Martin. He's got Hulkenberg behind him, who might not be too much of a threat to Jenson Button, and then Lewis Hamilton behind Hulkenberg. And if Hamilton's having struggles once again on his tyres, that's going to help Jenson Button maybe consolidate that 5th place.
Absolutely. Well, Mark's charging down the inside. I believe he's allowed to do that. He's been told to pass the safety car, so at some point.
That's a replay. So Martin is commentating on a replay of Mark Webber charging and passing, but he's been told, so he's allowed to do that. Okay.
And you want to pass the other cars as quickly as you can.
That's what he's doing. And I take it the other cars are made aware of this and they're told by the team, look, careful, Mark's coming through.
Yeah.
I take it the other cars are made aware of this. Like it states in the regulations, Crofty. And Crofty's just, presenting that to the audience, feeding it to the audience in a certain style. Oh, I suppose the others are made aware that he'll be doing this. Cheers for that, Crofty.
Lewis Hamilton, meanwhile, on the radio saying, look, where am I? How far behind everyone else am I? How far off the pace and the lead of Sebastian Vettel? Well, down in 7th place at the moment. Paul di Resta.
Oh, what jeopardy! How is this going to affect each of these drivers on the restart? What is the state of their tyres? What is this going to mean to their race now? They're on the radio. They're anxious that they now might be coming under attack. Oh! This is how they make you feel in the race, all right? That's what it's all about. It's invoking that emotional response, the jeopardy, the anticipation. This is what the formula all is.
seen or heard much of Paul di Resta in this race, currently 12th behind Daniel Ricciardo in the Toro Rosso that started 6th on the grid, running in 11th place at the moment. There's his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne, his car in the garage.
Let's talk about those pit stop penalties, because unsafe release, which Mark Webber's under investigation for, as is Force India and Paul di Resta.
They need to investigate Mark Webber. Was Mark Webber's car released in an unsafe condition? We'll need to investigate that, and we'll let the judges decide, because none of us can. None of us can have a look at that and have the capacity to understand that that was a car being released in an unsafe manner, causing harm to a cameraman. No, that will require an investigation, and then it will require a judge to determine whether that was the case or not. Don't you worry your little heads. You're not qualified to be able to understand.
Because they agreed there's a mark down before each pit garage that if a car was closer than that particular point, then it's an unsafe release, and that seemed to be a pretty sensible way to go about it. So a defined point, what is.
They're talking now about the release of cars into the path of others. There was an incident earlier in this Grand Prix. If you've got F1 TV, go and listen to it, go and watch it, and they say, oh, that's a slam dunk drive-through. The commentators are able to call out the penalties there and then. And then they backtrack, oh, well, actually, we've got to wait for the stewards to decide how they want to manipulate it.
Unsafe release. Well, if that car is within so many metres of our garage, you can't release your car. But that seems to have been thrown out of the window.
Okay, Roman, so we are back on the Prang A, but we are not sure about the tyres.
Well, does that mean Romain Grosjean isn't going to...
They're on Plan A, kids. They're on Plan A. Remember, it's Plan A. You all know about Plan A, don't you? What about Plan B? Oh, no, they've gone for Plan C. Oh, we've actually, because of the way this is unfolded, we've gone for Plan D. But you all know what all these letters mean, don't you? Oh, it's highly technical, complex. Don't you worry, little heads. But yeah, oh, kids, get onto social media. Tweet that they're now on to Plan C. And you know, don't you? Yes, you're all knowledgeable, highly knowledgeable people at F1, knowing what the plans are. Bernie will tell you. Anyway, so we're now on to lap 28. This is turn 1 of lap 28. Remember, Mark Webber got released early on lap 27. Often, the remainder of that lap plus the mandatory lap afforded to them is sufficient for them to fully catch the back of the safety car pack, and that safety car, the field now will be bunched behind the safety car, all the remaining competitors in the correct race order, with all of the previously built up time advantages wiped out between all competitors. Was Martin Brundle saying this on this occasion back in 2013? Okay, Webber's now past the leader. Will he be far enough out of the way? Will the safety car be coming in at the end of this lap? Did you hear any of that? Didn't hear any of that? No. Oh no, they go round again. Oh, this is wasting time. I don't like this, because that's what you get from Brundle. It's safety car roulette. What's going to happen now? Are they going to do this? Will the safety car be coming in? Oh, we don't know from race to race what they're going to do. And yet the reality is, at every time it happens, they always do the same procedure. Why are we not getting the urgency from Brundle this time to suggest that he doesn't like the safety car now remaining on track for another lap? Is it because a Red Bull car needs to be able to catch up? Is it the contract where Martin Brundle has to validate everything that's happening in favour of Red Bull, because Red Bull put so much money into the show is reliant on the Red Bull investment, and hence the contracted commentator can't say anything to the detriment of Red Bull and the impact that it's having on Red Bull. Who knows? Who knows? It's all a manipulation. They all benefit from it.
Stop again. Ted Kravitz might have to do 30, 31 laps to the end on one set of tyres.
It's possible. It's possible if you're Lotus. It's possible if you're Grosjean and Raikkonen, but that's what they mean, yes. That they're going to stay on a two-stop, but they'll have to see what happens with the tyres. I think Sebastian Vettel will probably try to do the same if he can. Otherwise, a three-stop, he'll just be handing the race to the Lotuses. But Alonso also looking like he's going to just suck it and see on the tyres. Button and Hulkenberg committing to their two-stop, but it's just going to be interesting at the end because, of course, Jenson Button still has to run the soft tyre, and that will be the key as to how long they can run on that soft tyre at the end.
Yeah, the theory was 7 or 8 laps at the end on the soft tyre might give you a performance advantage whilst the tyre had the life as well. Lotus had the option here, don't they? Keep Grosjean on the two.
What jeopardy? What's going to happen now? Are we hyping it up yet, or are we just filling time? We're just filling time, aren't we? Why are we filling time? Because these things... Well, we're on lap 28. When are we going to go racing? Probably to lap 29. When did the incident take place? Well, we'll go back and we'll double check that. But safety car was deployed on lap 24. We've got 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Oh, there's bound to be a couple. Well, there's only 5.4 laps remaining. And you're suggesting there's bound to be a couple of racing laps. So you're saying that the safety car will be done within 3.4 laps? Brundle and Crofty? Really? Your lived experience will tell you otherwise. So you're lying about Abu Dhabi 2021, aren't you?
Stop strategy, maybe 3 stops for Kimi Raikkonen, split it and see, but they're in the best position they've been in since Bahrain, where of course it was Sebastian Vettel who finished on top of the podium, and that day Kimi Raikkonen ahead of Roman Grosjean.
Handy for Lotus right now. Alonso back in the pack. How does he do that? It's always there somehow. The Hulk, 6th. Lewis then, he's got a reasonable set of tyres, but the safety car did nothing for him whatsoever, just to continue his miserable afternoon in that respect.
And the reason that we're still running behind
this... Will this be good for Hamilton? Oh no, it wasn't good for Hamilton. Right. The reason we're still running behind the safety car, Crofty, tell us the reason we're still running behind the safety car.
The safety car is that Mark Webber, now having unlapped himself,
Mark Webber, now having unlapped himself, you can see he's 19th and last, right? But he's been allowed to unlap himself.
He's just working his way towards the back of the pack. He's
working his way towards the back of the pack so that he's sufficiently out of the way of the race between the leaders. Is that right?
3 corners away from Max Chilton, who's currently running 18th, so I assume.
Crofty's assuming.
As soon as Mark Webber gets up to the back of Max Chilton, we can go racing again.
Yeah, funny that.
There he is.
Yeah, so Lewis lost 2 places there effectively. Button and Hulkenberg jumped him in those stops because he'd stopped just before the safety car.
And he'd lost out, of course, being held up behind his teammate Nico Rosberg for 4 or 5 laps. Jumped by Roman Grosjean in the first round of pit stops. And then not being able to defend against either Raikkonen or eventually Alonso. Hamilton having to dive into the pits to get another set of tyres.
So Webber's last, but he's now on the lead lap, and the only
Webber's last and he's now on the lead lap. Having previously been lapped by everybody, he's now unlapped relative to everybody and just at the back of this bunch of 19 running cars. That's turn 1. We're on to lap 29. Are we racing again?
Between him and the leader is the pack.
Okay, Sebastian.
So the only thing between Webber and the leader is the pack. You couldn't make it up. He was released on lap 27. We're still behind the safety car on lap 29. How long will they wait? He's not interfering with the race between the leaders. Tell us how long they'll wait, Martin. is the race director using his 15.3? Oh yeah, he's using his overriding discretion, isn't he? Of looking at the situation, has Webber fully caught the back of the pack? No, he hasn't yet. Stay on track, safety car. Red Bull, get invited into the steward's appeal and tell the world 15.3 is that the race director can do what he wants with impunity. Ignore all the regulations, he can do what he wants. No, it's so that when applying the regulations, he can apply those regulations to the sport with consideration to the sporting implications. That's exactly what it's for. Yet no media can tell you that. Oh, everybody, we don't know. Is this? Does 15.3 show you that the race director can effectively override his own rules? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Oh, and then we've got all the wannabe lawyers in the comments section going, yes, well, I think this, well, I think that. Well, the word any, it can mean, doesn't necessarily mean all, does it? So yes, technically, when you think about it that way, any doesn't mean all. Yes, we all know, don't we? We all know. No, because none of you know what to fucking think. Because you've all been mind conditioned by the bullshit. Because you've not been able to strip this down to what is actually happening here. What is the fundamental purpose of what is actually happening? Why? Because everything is layered. Everything is layered through the bullshit spoken by Brundle and Crofty, different at every event. Everything is layered by what they show you, what they choose to show you, so that you don't get an overall perspective to actually gain an understanding of what is actually going on. The fundamental mechanics of what is actually taking place here, the relevance of that and how it impacts the sporting outcomes to each of these competitors. They don't give you that. And because they don't give you that, they can manipulate it. That's the formula. That's the formula. And now they get kiddies presenting it to kiddies. That's what the problem is. Right? Give something that people like the look of. Okay? Present it in a way that's appealing to people. Dumb it down. Right? Create an entire population of mind-conditioned fucks with an attention span of just 12 seconds. And then we can do what we want to them. It's not a problem. Don't you worry your little heads. It's fine. You just believe us. Believe what the little pretty teenager tells you, everybody. You like that, don't you? Yeah, that's what they like as well. In fact, the kid had probably been a bit too old for them. That's the kind of shit the Epstein class likes. Anyway, let's carry on.
You get a good job on fuel. Keep doing that. But we do the lap easy on the brakes. You take it a bit easy on the brakes.
Can Mark Webber go to the end of this race as well on that set of tyres?
You see, Grosjean did 13 laps on the softs at the beginning on full tank, so not out. If he paces himself a little bit, I think what his engineer was saying there was we'll go back to a two-stopper, but and the safety car's in this lap, but I don't know about the tyres. In other words, you're going to have to.
Safety car's in this lap, so the safety car's coming in this lap. I don't know if there's any more relevant.
Nerfs them a little bit.
I'm not sure Mark Webber's going to want to be nursing too much as he tries to slice his way through the field. This could be a very interesting second half of the race. First half not going his way. Second half, let's see where he can end up. And now it's time to get some heat into the tyres. It was the safety car coming in at the end of this lap. Just going through the Schumacher S's at the moment. Sebastian Vettel, as he has often done in the past, having to contend with a restart. Leading a Grand Prix again, the man who passed 10,000 kilometres in the lead of a Formula One race during the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Didn't end well for him that afternoon. He has bounced back here to be leading at the halfway mark of this German Grand Prix. Roman Grosjean, second. Kimi Räikkönen.
So what have we got? We've got a line of cars in the correct race order with all of the previously built up advantages wiped out between all competitors. The race will resume when they cross the start-finish line at the beginning of lap 30, effectively. At this point in time, it actually might start when they cross safety car line 1, that line that's across the track and across the pit lane entry lane. That might be where the race resumes back here. We now know that their regulations are that as of whenever it was, the race resumes when they cross the start-finish line. Back in 2013, it might have been slightly different, but we've achieved the restart condition. You see these slight gaps. The regulation, they must remain within 10 car lengths of each other. Ultimately, when one goes, they all react to that and they all go. Essentially, what you're going to get is when they're up to speed, initially, there's going to be about half a second between each car. Then each car can try and attack the car that's in front of it, but is susceptible to being attacked from the car behind it. That's the restart condition.
Third, and Fernando Alonso, Jenson Button, who was only stopped
So as we know, race leader mucks around
once, the leading four all stopped twice.
Gives enough time for the safety car to get away from everybody, make itself back to the pits.
Okay, Mark, so the restart. I want to pick off these cars quickly.
See?
Yep, and get going, my friend.
You can pass
Oops, somebody's locking up.
before the last corner as well.
You can pass before the last corner back then.
Just a little lock-up
Funny what the commentators know.
there.
You can pass from now.
So this is safety car line 1. You can pass from now. Right, safety car. There's a pit lane entrance. There's safety car line 1 going across the track and the pit lane. So back then, that constituted the restart of racing. Even then, though, were we on the final lap of the race, there would be no racing between here and the line. It would be the finishing order would be the order that these cars are running in now.
That's the safety car line, and that.
So we're back underway and we're racing again. But essentially, the way that it works in terms of the regulations as they currently stand.
That's where we can start racing once again. Round the final corner, Kimi Räikkönen desperately trying to get a good exit, put some pressure.
Lap 30. And the race is underway. So we've lap 30, and if we go back to too far, lap 22, lap 22. Let's see when they show us Jules Bianchi's situation. Lap 23. Let's just see what goes on lap 23.
It is still 3-star. I just thought he might go.
Jules will need to get out.
So lap 23 is when. Okay. So lap 23 is when something happens. And lap 23 is the lap that the leader's on. So we've lost part of lap 23. We've lost lap 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. We go racing again on lap 30. So we've lost 6 full laps plus the remainder of lap 23 that the leader still had left to do in dealing with this incident. 6 point something laps of a Grand Prix are taken out to deal with an incident and then do the procedure to achieve the restart condition for that Grand Prix. Were the commentators jumping up and down? Will they do the mandatory unlapping procedure that we're going to try to lie to you and say is optional? Oh, yeah, it's not mandatory. That's normally on a wet day. We don't have ever the example of them not doing it on that wet day in Belgium that Martin will claim about. That's all bullshit, right? No, we know. Will they let the lap runners through? I'm not sure it's mandatory, but it's normally on a wet day where they don't. But if they do elect to do the mandatory procedure that we're trying to mind condition you to pretend that it's optional. If they do it, how long will they wait before we get going again? Well, we waited about 2 3/4 laps here, Martin. You know that you've got the remainder of the lap that they're released on plus the mandatory one. Okay, but the race director can make it longer than that if he's not satisfied that release car has caught up, like he did here. I mean, the way you shout it to the world, you don't make them aware of that. You make how long will he wait seem like he can just pull it straight away. You don't actually explain to people that that option is actually about prolonging, not cutting short. It's all done by design. The 15.3 is not about cutting short, it's about the option to prolong if it's necessary to prolong to achieve sporting fairness. So there you go. But, you know, don't worry. I mean, he wasn't interfering with the race between the leaders, was Mark. Obviously not. Because that's the primary purpose, about removing interference of racing between leaders. Lap 60 of 60, what's happening now? Vettel in the fastest car, the Red Bull, okay, winning. Raikkonen in whatever that was, a Lotus.
Second faster in this first sector. Grosjean matched by Fernando Alonso in third and fourth.
The battle for first.
Sebastian.
What about 8th? Webber. Mark Webber in 8th position. World Championship point, is that? I mean, it varies by the season, doesn't it? Let's have a look, shall we? Well, here's Wikipedia. Here's the track layout. There's the start, finish straight. Turn 1. Around here, turn 2, 3. I would suggest that Mark Webber has passed the safety car by coming out of turn 4. Something like that. So that is very... He's got the remainder of that lap and then was given 2 laps to catch the back of the pack before they restarted. Okay, this is a 3.2 mile long circuit, so, you know, fairly average, not particularly short, not particularly long. And then we get the qualifying. Webber in the Red Bull qualified there, 3rd. So clearly in a Red Bull car that is up there with the fastest cars. And then we get in the race, Webber finishes in 7th position, having must have overtaken Perez, and he gets, for that, 6 points. 6 World Championship points for Red Bull, for his World Championship, for the Red Bull team in their World Championship. You would think that Christian Horner and Adrian Newey and Jonathan Wheatley would understand what has taken place in this event in accordance with the regulations of the sport and what that achieved and what it is there to achieve and what it is for all sporting competitors in that event to achieve. We only need 1 racing lap. Christian to Michael, aren't we getting those lap runners out of the way? We only need 1 racing lap. Well, you do. That's your desire, Christian, right? But that's not in accordance with the rules and regulations of the sport. We only need 1 racing lap. Red Bull played some clever cards, running a strategy which meant that they were 12 seconds behind the leader in second place. That's clever. Red Bull used coercive control of a race director who's now signed a non-disclosure agreement to not say anything about this. Give them money to remain silent, having perpetrated something. But, you know, the commentary at the time, they couldn't say anything about it. They could only validate it. They could only gaslight the audience, telling you, will this happen? It's optional. Will he be doing this? Oh, this is a standard message. This is going to mean, oh, this is awful for Lewis Hamilton. F1 TV presenting Max Verstappen as the victim of the situation. The entire thing was a construct. The stewards inviting Red Bull into the appeal to ask Red Bull to then go away for 40 minutes to construct an argument as to whether the regulations were mandatory or not, whether they're optional, whether any meant all, whether 15.3 could override, whether 48.13 actually meant, oh, that overrides 48.12, so if you don't do 48.12, as soon as you do 48.13, then 48.12 no longer matters, say Red Bull. Oh yes, absolutely right there, Red Bull. And nobody in the media can explain to you otherwise. Nobody in the media, all these Formula One experts that they present to us, you know, like the kiddies with the expertise. That if you go back to here, you know, these kiddies with the expertise that they teach, they educate the kids about Formula One. Yay, everybody, it's Formula One. Put up the devil horn sign. Yay for Formula One and Lego. They'll be able to educate you with the implications of the sport, won't they? These are the people they're living the dream. They're winning. Hey, Mum and Dad, I've got a job for F1. I'm a success. I've obviously met their credentials for being able to present about the sport to people. And I'll be able to educate people. I'm a qualified educator to be able to explain to people what's actually going on here. The kiddies will like this, won't they? Yay! Yay! Having a great time, aren't we? This is the mechanics of fraud, the mechanics of deception, the mechanics of the billionaire class exploiting people through disinformation, misinformation, their entire structure of contrivance. Obfuscation of the truth, presented experts lying to people, and manipulating outcomes to benefit individuals and the benefit the interests of certain parties. That's the blueprint for what's actually happening in this world. And every single one of us is ultimately being exploited because we're all being lied to, we're all being fed bullshit information. I strip it down and say, it's bullshit. Here's the evidence of it being bullshit. But, you know, we live in a world now where a population, an hour and 48 minutes long. Too long, didn't watch. What's this guy going on about? This is boring. I don't like the way he sounds. This guy's a conspiracy theorist. This guy's crazy. But I'll leave a comment telling everybody that this guy's crazy. Yeah. Well done you. 1,428 people get to see it. They incentivize the content creator to say, oh, yeah, well done. Yeah, we'll give you £4.13 for that video. Yeah, well done. But maybe when next time you talk about something else, because obviously if you talk about the same thing all the time, your views get lower and lower and lower each time. But no, maybe you talk about something else and do it in the way that we want you to talk about it. And maybe you'll get more, and maybe you'll get more subscribers, and maybe you'll be winning the algorithm, the mystery formula that way. The control of the narrative. And then people go chasing the money, and then they, become a Max Verstappen fluffer. It works, doesn't it? It works, because that's what their motive is. You see, mine's not. I'd rather not suck dick. Anyway, thanks for your time on this one. See you soon.